All right, if you're in cybersecurity marketing, you know the struggle. Trying to find the right agency can feel, well, impossible. This is the guide I seriously wish I had back when I was in your shoes. We're going to cut right through all the noise and give you a super clear, no-nonsense playbook for making the right call in 2026. Ready? Let's dive. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll tackle just how crowded this market really is. Then, we'll look at the three main ways you can get some help. After that, I'll give you the short list of the absolute best agencies for 2026, and we'll break them down head to head. And to wrap it all up, you're going to get a final hiring checklist so you know exactly what to do. Simple as that. All right, first up, the crowded cyber market. It's one thing to have an amazing product, but it's a whole other challenge to actually get seen. And the reason for that is pretty simple. The space is just completely packed. Just take a look at this number. Over 3,500. That's how many other cybersecurity vendors you're competing with right now. I mean, think about that. It doesn't matter what your niche is, XDR, cloud security, identity, you name it, you are fighting for attention against thousands of other companies. It's absolutely wild. So, with that much noise, what do you think happens? Well, generic marketing just becomes totally invisible. All those vague phrases like, in today's threat landscape? Yeah, buyers just tune that stuff out instantly. They're sophisticated, they're busy, and if your message doesn't hit their exact problem head on, you're basically just talking to yourself. And this right here, this is a total game changer. It shows how people buy things now. A massive 75%, 3 out of 4, B2B buyers would much rather do their own homework online than ever talk to a sales rep. What does that mean for you? It means your website, your content, your entire online presence, that is your first sales call. It has to be sharp, it has to be specialized, and it absolutely has to be helpful. Look, the reality is very few in-house teams can do all of this well on their own. It's just too much. So that brings us to the solution. You've got to get some expert help. Let's break down the 3 proven ways you can do that. So option 1 is the full-service cybersecurity marketing agency. Think of this as your all-in-one solution. You get a dedicated team that already speaks the language, they handle both the big-picture strategy and the daily execution, and they basically run the whole process for you. This is definitely the way to go if you need comprehensive end-to-end support. Your second option is a freelance marketer. This is kind of like hiring a specialist surgeon. You don't need a whole new hospital, you just need one person who is absolutely brilliant at one specific thing. Maybe that's a technical copywriter or demand gen guru. You've already got the strategy, you just need an expert to plug a specific gap. And your third option is the fractional CMO. Now, this is a heavy hitter, a seasoned marketing leader that you bring on part-time to provide that high-level strategic vision. They're fantastic for setting the direction. But, and this is a big but, they're usually not the ones actually doing the day-to-day work. They create the master plan, but you'll almost always need an agency or a team to bring that plan to life. Okay, so let's say an agency sounds like the right path for you. The big question is, who should you even be looking at? Well, we've narrowed it down to a short list of the absolute best specialists in the game. And to be honest, any of these would be a solid choice. But they each serve slightly different needs. Now we get to the fun part, a direct side-by-side comparison. We're going to lay out what each one focuses on, what they cost, and what kind of results they get, so you can see at a glance which one is the perfect fit for your team's goals and budget. Okay, let's just lay it all out there. You can see the top players right here. On one end, you've got Content Visit, which is laser-focused on technical companies that need expert marketing without a massive price tag. Then there's Codeless, which is a powerhouse for big enterprises needing to scale SEO content like crazy. You have Ronin, which is all about bold branding. Their motto is literally no white papers. Bora is great for social media and traffic, and Bluetex is the go-to for giants like Intel who need absolutely everything. It really just comes down to the right fit. Now that you've seen the options, let's be direct. For most cybersecurity vendors, especially if you have a lean marketing team and you need every single dollar to count, one agency on that list consistently stands out from the rest. And that agency is Content Visit. Here's exactly why. First, they only work with cybersecurity companies. That's it. So there's zero learning curve on your dime. Second, their approach is all about SEO, which builds long-term sustainable growth, not just short-term ad clicks. They're built from the ground up for lean teams. They have proven results with huge names like IBM, and, well, they were just named the best cybersecurity marketing agency for 2026. That pretty much says it. And this is a really huge factor, their pricing. With retainers starting at just $3,000 a month, they make truly expert, specialized support accessible to almost everyone. This isn't some generic agency price. This is top-tier cyber marketing expertise at a cost that lets smaller teams actually compete. Okay, so you've seen the options, and you probably have a frontrunner in mind. But before you do anything, let's equip you with the final tool you need to make a really confident decision. Think of this as your pre-flight check before you commit. So, what should you actually ask before you sign on that dotted line? What are those non-negotiable questions that will tell you if an agency is truly the right partner for you or just another vendor? Here they are. First, you need to ask, who will actually be working on my account? You don't want the A team in the sales pitch and the junior team doing the work. Second, ask them, what does your process for ideas and workflow look like? You need to know how they get things done. Third, get really specific on performance. How do you measure and report on success? And finally, check the contract terms. A truly confident agency often won't try to lock you into a long-term commitment. And that brings us to the final question, the one you really need to ask yourself. In a market of over 3,500 vendors, with buyers who are actively doing their own research, is your marketing specialized enough to not just compete, but to actually break through all that noise and win in 2026? That's something to think about.